Previously on the Toilet Explosion Challenge.
There's a problem with the toilet.
I need to start this video with an apology. Not like this one. I just wanted to say sorry that it took so long to upload it because I was sick for quite a while and did not have a voice. And now to a quick message from our sponsor. This video was made possible by the ICA. Only in February are all decapitations half off if you use my code TOILET on their website. That's TOILET, all caps. Thank you, ICA. As you might remember from the first video, we are answering one very important question, possibly the most important question in the history of Hitman. Can I eliminate every single Hitman target in a toilet explosion? After we flew mostly last season, the ICA had to cut down on the budget and I was forced to take a boat to Hawke's Bay. So after washing up on the beach, I made my way to the villa, violently taking out any surveillance cameras that would impede our progress. Another problem with our budget cuts was the lack of food available at the office, so I managed to steal a few cans of expired spaghetti sauce to feed my fellow agents. Then I quickly grabbed a bus, entered the panic room and took a few collector's items from the wall. After a quick trip to the roof, where I put some chloroform in the vent system to set up my trap for later, I went back down, logged onto their computer to play some video games, but instead got to watch a motorcade approaching. These guys were not even carpooling, even though they were riding big SUVs, so I chose the environmentally friendly approach of eliminating them to avoid future pollution. After all, it's the small gestures that matter. While I entered the house, I hid in the closet and spent the time doing my nails until they came up, changed even though I was still in the room, rude, and went to the shower. The chloroform did its job flawlessly and both my target as well as her companion passed out. I then made my way to the bathroom and hit the body of my non-target. The guy standing guard in front of the door annoyed me as well, so I lured him in, and since he was already in the bedroom, I offered him a chance to sleep off his headache. Now I was posed with a challenge. I would prefer an accident, so I was looking for a propane bottle, but no matter how long I was searching, I could not find any. So I had to go with the more direct approach. After playing with some grenades on the toilet, I blew up my target and then hit myself while the guards were searching. For whatever reason, the security guards were way more aggressive than usual and never stopped searching, probably because the map was so small that they didn't find enough distractions. So I exfiltrated elegantly and stealthily while everybody was hunting me. Even though I offered them a spaghetti dinner, the guards were not happy and shot me dead, which was pretty rude in my opinion. So I had to reset, but I vowed that this time I would do things way more elegantly. Instead of throwing a frag grenade, I put a remotely triggered explosive next to my target, snuck my way to the exit, helped the guard who was suffering from insomnia and triggered the explosive the second before I left. Now that was the perfection 47 always strives for. Since I already had a boat, I made my way across the ocean to Miami, spending time with deep thoughts like, when you think about it, you could also blow up people in the ocean since it's the world's toilet. After washing up on the beach in Miami, I made my way to the racetrack. Since security was very high, I had my trusty ICA-19 smuggled in the parking garage and obviously went to pick it up first. After all, it's always good to have something to shoot people with if you don't like them. Next on the agenda was taking out the security system, so I made my way to the security room, walking by a scene of flamingo on flamingo violence. Obviously I got distracted and followed the flamingo, who led me luckily to a handy propane flask. After being equipped for an explosion in the future, I figured it was a good idea to join the security detail, and lucky for me, there was a guy nearby willing to lend me his uniform. Even though I don't like crowds, I've blended in one and followed Sierra Knox to a bar where I got immediately compromised by some jerk behind me. Knowing that it's that kind of day, I ran, and after some minor shenanigans, I just restarted the mission since I felt this run was not up to scratch. To get to the security footage, I just tampered with a fuse box and waited for an annoyed guard to arrive. Because I believe safety is paramount, I had a fire extinguisher on me and showed it to the guard who was overcome with sudden fatigue. I found him a comfortable place to sleep, and since he was kind enough to lend me his uniform, I did his job for a few minutes and accidentally happened to delete the security recording. Because I did not do my job well, I figured I'd quit and run off before anyone noticed what I did. Which is what I would recommend you for your real life job to do as well, if you can. I then made my way up the building to go after Robert Knox first. Because the AC was turned up high on the upper floors, guards wearing shorts were not allowed, so I had to find a new disguise, preferably a guard with a suit. The guard did not seem to have a good day, so I gave him an opportunity for a short bathroom break. I quickly crossed the floor to the next set of stairs just to find myself facing a guard with a noticing dot over his head. I bribed him to look away with a coin, which he promptly did, and I got a good opportunity to slip by unnoticed. Now I was on the right floor and even remembered from my horrible flamingo rampage where the bathroom was. Time to put my cunning plan into motion. At first, I started by getting rid of any potential witnesses, beginning with the guy in the room next to the toilet. After that, I quickly knocked out a guard that was patrolling since I did not want to get disturbed. The importance of a quiet workplace cannot be overstated. Sadly, things did not stay quiet though and got too loud for my social anxiety, so I spent a bit of time in a box to relax. After I felt confident enough to get out, there was a guard nearby, so I quickly took care of him and let him participate in a study to figure out how being dragged down a set of stairs impacts short-term memory. Unfortunately, I was compromised by a scientist, a problem which I solved with the usual grace. After distracting his guards with some dropped guns, I knocked out Robert and dragged him to the bathroom. Shocked, I remembered that I need to grab my propane and ran all the way back down to the stairs where I left it. Yeah, there was a slight hiccup in the plan, so I needed to grab some fruit to calm my nerves and as sure as hell needed the vitamins. After bribing the same guard again and being very grateful for my discretionary slush fund, I was back at where I was before, which was a sentence I'd rather not say that often in my life. Since Knox told his bodyguard who I was already compromised and went for the direct approach by putting my propane to some off-label use. Another guard that happened to walk by was introduced to a flying crowbar as well. Now all I had to do was repeat dragging the unconscious Robert Knox to the toilet and getting back the propane flask before I could finally reap the reward for my hard work. Now I chose my way back down the building, grabbed another propane flask and crossed the racetrack to get to Sierra Knox. After some casual blending in a crowd, I chose the location for my assassination. At first I had to thin out the crowd a bit and in the spirit of efficiency I went for the double takedown method. Some guard was a bit too interested in my work, so I showed him how healthy a coconut is. Lucky for me, there were lots of toilets to get a body pile going and still have room for the upcoming explosion. On the downside, the downed guard attracted some more unwanted attention that I dealt with by the means of coconut. Since the guard was waking again and stuck behind the door, I had to help him get tired after a bit of a sugar rush. Since the bathroom rampage was breaking news, I obviously joined the press to report on the situation on site. I was rudely disturbed by a passerby who didn't wash his hands long enough, so I obviously had to stop him from entering the restaurant. While I was trying to lure Knox to the bathroom, somebody else discovered my body pile, so I had to abandon my primary mission and do some classic damage control. Reliable as most Hitman targets are, Sierra Knox came back to the bathroom even though she witnessed a guy getting knocked out previously, and she was even hell interested in my cone throwing ability. Since tradition is important, I also knocked her out, not even bothering to add her companion to the pile. All that hard work made the explosion even sweeter. And remember, being the good assassin I am, I obviously overflowed the sinks and made my way to the exit, taking a quick glance at a single security guard marveling at my work. Grateful that I didn't have to flush down anything after the toilet explosion, I left the level through a manhole. After bringing my boat over to Colombia, I did what every reasonable tourist would do and took a room at a hotel before I got some typical tourist action, like blending in crowds and staring at the village. Then I remembered that I prefer adventure tourism and made my way over to the Delgado mansion. After some senseless violence against the surveillance state, I did some workout sessions with 2 local guards and free climbing exercises and was finally invited to guard a drug plantation. I dealt with some more cameras, but then was quickly discovered and shot at even though I was nice enough to offer the guards some cocaine. So I had to reset, and because I hate myself and play through the whole thing on master difficulty, I had to start at the very beginning. Back at the same point, I found a small shed near an outhouse and chose this as my best place to take down Mr. Franco. At first, I convinced the guy staying in the shed to come out and take a relaxing break. Then I quickly grabbed a propane bottle and placed it elegantly at the luxurious cocaine smuggler's toilet. Next, I started doing some repair work and getting busy dealing with the guards near the shed, as well as doing some cosplay as a cocaine smuggler guard. I was even nice enough to offer sodas and cocaine to some guys, your typical drug plantation lunch break. Unfortunately, some overzealous guard noticed my effort and mistook them as hostile, so I had to retreat and get changed into something less blue. Because I still had some sodas, I figured it was time for another round of free drinks and even got back my blue disguise. Now all I had to do was the same thing I did in Fortnite, which was camping and waiting for my enemies to come to me. It wasn't long until Jorge Franco also got a free soda, and after drinking so much he obviously had to go to the toilet, and nice as I am, I helped him along the way. Sadly, it turns out that not just closed toilets are dangerous and prone to explosions, but also open outhouses. I made my way back in town and joined the military. Being the good soldier I am, I just quickly borrowed a propane flask from the mechanic to get the garrison's grill going. In Andrea Martinez's mansion, I borrowed some guy's wrench and went to wash my hands afterwards since it looked dirty. Unfortunately, I forgot to turn off the tap and 2 other soldiers walked in, so I got to put my wrench to some good use. Then I made my way up to the security room and deleted the tapes after some quick crowbar action. Now it was pretty straightforward. I just dropped the gun and sat down to relax from an honest day's work. Soon Martinez came back and let a soldier take care of the gun, getting the last witness out of my way. She, on the other hand, was very interested in dropped money on the toilet floor, but did not choose to wash her hands, so I had to keep her from leaving the bathroom. Unfortunately for her, washing her hands was the least of her worries after a small detonation. Then I left the military since I was offered a guard job at the Delgado mansion, which was better paid. I quickly went to the underground cave where the nearest propane flask was stored and stealthily and elegantly subdued 2 guards before grabbing the propane and going back up. At this point, I figured it would be a good idea to put my propane to some good use and throw it in a guard's face. It turned out to be a bad idea though, since there were a lot of witnesses around that I did not see coming, which ended in me having to restart. Back at Delgado's office, which has a convenient toilet right next to it, I offered some cocaine to his guards. Since there was a disgraceful lack of closets, I stored the unconscious guys in the bathroom that I was about to blow up. After a rather long wait, I quickly injected Delgado with an emetic pen syringe, and he made his way to the bathroom. Being as kind as I am, I didn't let him discover the unconscious bodies on the ground and get scared, but I had then to drag the guards back next to the bed where they could sleep off their headache. After that, it was a simple matter of creating a typical toilet accident and making my way to the exit. Since he didn't need it anymore and I required some transportation to my next destination, I stole Delgado's sports car. I had to load the car on a freighter just to get to India, but I had to leave it behind eventually since it would not fit in the tight streets of Mumbai. At first, I went to an internet cafe to steal a soda and figured out that playing Hitman Sapienza level was pretty popular in India. If anyone from India is watching, does the Sapienza really popular? After some sightseeing, I made my way to a pipe where I helped a guard to have a pipe dream. Now that I was part of the security detail, I entered the building and shot the surveillance tapes while climbing up the elevator shaft. Unfortunately for me, things escalated a bit, but there was no reason to worry, since I had enough bricks and cricket balls for that occasion. I even was kind enough to bring the guards to the bedroom so they could sleep off their headaches. I even found a propane flask nearby and did some experimentation of its impact on glass, which was not part of my mission, but something that tickled my scientific mind. After placing the propane flask in the bathroom, I set up an emetic remote grenade on the Rangan's desk. I also tried to play cricket with a security guard and one of the Bollywood crew, but apparently I misunderstood the rules of the game, so I just hit the guys in the closet. I even managed to win my first staring contest with a security guard who eventually let me have the victory and went his merry way. Unfortunately, one of the guards spotted my little gadget, so I went to take it back and was even fast enough to sneak it right in front of him. Since my perfect setup did not work, I just snuck up behind my target and placed the gadget on the floor, triggering it as soon as I got to a safe distance. His reaction was just as obvious as the following explosion. Since somebody thought this perfectly normal accident was suspicious, I quickly made my way out of the building and went to check out a few old PCs that were even able to run Hitman Sapienza level at a nearby computer shop. A fresh propane flask in hand that I previously threw out the tower for later, I made my way over to the train yard and entered through a broken window. Being the true professional I am, I went for a combo move, distracting a guy and placing the propane flask already in the railcar toilet in one go. Apparently I still hadn't mastered the subtleties of the game of cricket, which meant that I ended up causing a rip in the space-time continuum that left the other NPC in a state of permanent suspension. My second takedown was just as epic because the lady I knocked out went down normally, but now the cricket ball was affected by my space-time rip. After some hard work, I managed to restore the universe to its previous state and 47 hit the bodies because there cannot be any witnesses to this major crime against physics. Next, I got busy taking out any guards nearby in a very stealthy operation. There were some witnesses, however, I've offered them a bit of spaghetti sauce and a soda as a bribe. They chose not to rat me out. Now I just had to wait for Vanya to show up and then take out her assistant as well as her with a double brick combo. Then she was fairly close to the toilet, it was easy to get her on the train and set up a little accident. Hiding her assistant was a bit more challenging since I had an admiring audience above me. After that little hiccup, I went to set off my trap, which was interrupted by an automatically closing door, a brand new feature on these old trains. This time the universe did not break and Shaw went flying, following the rules of physics with a big bang. Dealing with the maelstrom proved to be the real challenge. At first, it took a long time to follow him around and figure out what he's up to. After an hour or so, I managed to find his girlfriend and searched her house for a toilet, but sadly she didn't have one. At first, I chose to just accept the bucket or the bathtub as a toilet and went for a run, and ended up being haunted. Then my ego took the better of me, so I reset, went back to the drawing board and found a public toilet in the city. Now it was only a matter of getting him there without alerting the 500 witnesses standing around or any of the gangsters guarding him. First, I tried to lure him to the toilet, which was less than successful, so I went for the next best approach, which was to clean out the entire crow's hideout with the help of some expired spaghetti sauce and drag him from there all the way to the toilet. After having knocked out an entire gang in Mumbai, I finally could blow him up on the toilet and left the level proud of my success through an underground passage. After using the secret tunnel, which apparently led to America, I arrived in the small town of Whittleton Creek. Ignoring the obvious questions regarding infrastructure technology, I went straight to work. I started by getting a job as a construction worker, then I took a break and walked right off since I was bored. I quickly made sure that there were no curious neighbors and then went for a new high score in the all-American sport of shovel throwing, which was not appreciated by the neighborhood watch. So I made sure to become an exterminator that was not wanted by any witnesses, took out the cameras and grabbed some rat poison as well as a propane bottle by trespassing into neighboring houses. Next, I threw the propane bottle over the fence to get it in place and then started taking out guards. All I had to do was poison the fumigation system and turn it on, but for some reason or another things got out of hand and I had quite a mess to deal with. After having knocked out every single witness in the building, including the ones that showed up later, I finally could stage the accident. However, while leaving the building, I ran into a guard I forgot about, which led to a hard reset. The next one was not better, it only led to the conclusion that it is not a smart idea to throw a propane bottle near a smoking guard. So I went with the hope that third time was the charm. Finally, I managed to get a good run, so I took my time to delete the security footage and went for the double whammy by throwing the propane bottle at my target's head and then shooting it. He went up in a blaze of glory and probably some throw up. Even got out clean and made my way over to my next target, Janus. I needed more poison, so I made a quick pit stop at the serial killer muffin lady's house and grabbed whatever I could carry. Next, I went over to Janus's home and started to thin out a herd of guards, but let them cool off for a bit. Putting emetic pills into my target's oxygen bottle was kid's play. Now all I had to do was wait for him to breathe. After he ingested the poison simply because he enjoyed breathing, I followed him to the bathroom, snuck by a few guards, and finally set off my little contraption. Another accident well done. To complete the mission, I had to find the clues hidden across the map, but that's not why you're here, so I'll just conclude this mission with the footage of me putting a remote detonated mine to good use and doing some weird secret society cosplay. After I completed all my assignments, I left America with a leisurely stroll. After a trip over to Ambrose Island, I went for a drink to prepare myself mentally for what was about to come. I started off by considering my strategy. Then I quickly went for a fitting disguise in the stealthiest way possible. As soon as I joined the pirate gang, I went about to collect rat poison and lost a staring contest to a pigeon. After a quick break for a snack, I was finally ready to get to work. Like any good international assassin, I first deleted the security footage and spent some time hanging around the base. Aka's personal guard annoyed me, so I offered him some free sugar to sweeten his day, as well as a free bush to sleep off his sugar rush. Getting some poison into Aka's drink was not that hard. I just distracted one guard by dropping a gun he then had to take care of, waited for the other guy to look for a coin, and poisoned the drink. While waiting for my target to return, I took a quick class in crafting explosives and had fun hanging out at the pirate base. Now all I had to do was follow Aka to the toilet, make sure she went Aka-boom. At that point, it was time for a quick chat with my good old American pal. And now it was on to our second target, Mr. Noel Crest. I tried several times to do it in a different way than I did before, but all I ended up doing was being seen by a guy which had eyes in his back, sending Crest to a throw up anywhere but a toilet, wiring the wrong toilet to blow, ruining somebody's movie night, and worst of all, getting spotted. So I took a quick break with a beer to get over all these failures. I then came to the conclusion that it was best to stick with what I knew was proven to work, so I just chose to dispose of Mr. Crest in the same toilet as I did my previous target. To do that, I first placed an explosive in the toilet and a pneumatic grenade in the room where he'll meet Aka. Then I went for a little climb and did a bit of workout with a guard to finally light the beacon of Amandine. My call for aid did not go unheeded, and Mr. Crest, being the best, did go for the pneumatic grenade and made his way to the toilet. Crest in peace, my man. Crest in pieces. The last order of the day was to blow up the satellite uplink, which you could not do on a toilet. On the way there, I got some workout done, then downloaded the files and placed the explosive on the mainframe computer. Stylish as I am, I went to a good outlook to watch the explosion unfold. I then walked all the way back, took a photo as a souvenir, and made my way to the extraction point. Finally, I got a decent mode of transportation as I was picked up by a helicopter and flew on my way to the next place on our list, which is obviously another island. On our way from Ambrose Island to the Isle of Sgail, I changed transportation from a helicopter to a boat to have a really cool entrance at the harbor. I listened to the presentation of the host, then quickly ignored him and went about my day. Since I'm already on page 8 of the script and this video is freaking huge, I chose to spare you all my fails and instead show you a quick highlight of them before we go to the successful run. I started off by introducing a guard's face to a brick and going for a little climb. Then I found a propane bottle on the way and quickly deleted the security footage to make sure nobody would surveil the toilets. This would be against the law and not okay in general. Next, I borrowed a key from the waiting staff who was on a forced break and made my way up the castle. Now we could finally get to the prepare work by placing the propane bottle near a toilet and attracting a guard by overflowing the sink. As you can see, we're doing all the classics here. After hiding that guy, I went about to clean out the room so Washington would pass through. Unfortunately, I was not as successful as I expected to be. My social anxiety kicked in again, so I had to wait it out in a box. The second run went considerably better, including my social anxiety. I even offered the guard a free muffin. Because of a severe lack of storage space, I made a nice little pile of unconscious people as well as guns, while I was waiting for Miss Washington to join me. Since she insulted me, I lost my temper and just choked her out. After dragging her to the bathroom, it was finally time for some fireworks to celebrate my chokeout streak. As soon as I was done, I went to a higher level to get rid of the other Washington twin, Sophia. Again, it started with bathroom preparations by luring a guard in and subduing him. Then it dawned on me that I forgot the propane again, So I went all the way back down and grabbed the bottle. On her next round through the building, I lured in Washington's personal guard and subdued him as well, so she'd be alone. Now all I had to do was wait for Sophia to come back, so I went to the weird exhibition about the master plans of the secret society. Then I finally could put the pen syringe I brought along to some good use, by sneaking up to Sophia and poking her in the back. She quickly made her way to the bathroom and set a new airtime record for her family. After that, I met the Constant and explained to him that there were still available toilets and propane bottles in the building if he didn't come along. He preferred not to explode and escorted me to the boat like a true gentleman. Since I didn't want the nice suit get to waste, I changed back and boarded the boat with my hostage, leaving the Isle of Sgail with 2 less targets as well as 2 less usable toilets. Sorry guys. After coming to America by boat, as if I were an immigrant on a TV show, I did the stereotypical thing and became a janitor. As I gained experience at the bank, however, I managed to join the security detail. After I made my way 1 floor up, I found the bathroom I chose to use and started clearing it out by subduing a guy who was at least washing his hands properly. Unfortunately, a security guard got interested and started picking up dirty coins, a crime that could not go unpunished, plus he gave me a nice disguise. I figured that overflowing a handful of sinks would keep the guards on my floor busy, and I even succeeded by luring guard after guard into the toilet and making sure that the security office would be understaffed. Now all it took was 1 very well placed gunshot to assassinate the dangerous security tapes. Luckily for me, the head of security walked by and accidentally dropped the first of 3 data disks I had to acquire. Since he had no more use for it, I helped myself to it. It took me a while to find a propane bottle, but near the lost and found I finally helped myself to one and carried it all the way back up. Getting into Salaki's office was not hard as a top-level security guard, so I could get straight to ironing out the kinks in my plan and keeping her security detail busy. Next, I realized that I forgot half the stuff I needed, so I went back down again to get some rat poison and whiskey, and then set up my little trap for her. I found it rather annoying that the lobby was crawling with guards, so I took care of them. Luckily, one of the people in the lobby dropped the second data disk and helped me on my way. As soon as I was alone, I placed a bottle of whiskey on Salaki's table and poisoned her drink. To ease my time waiting for her to consume the poison, I picked up a violin and checked how far I could throw it. When Athena finally came back, she drank the poison like any good Hitman target would do. I followed my target all the way down to the nearest toilet, which was the one I prepared. I then knocked her out and collected the final data disk she dropped. Before detonating the toilet, I came to the conclusion it would be a good idea to hide the bodies that were still lying around in the adjacent bathroom. Unfortunately, it turned out that it was not such a good idea. So I made the best of the situation, detonated my only target and made my way out of the bank elegantly and without any further calamities. After landing in my last destination this season, Haven Island, I first went some quality time relaxing at the pool. However, Diana kept pestering me to do my job, so I went off and prepared my toilet explosion streak. At first, I became one with the channel and then became a guard. Then I finally made my way to the guard post, where I distracted some poor guy by sabotaging a fuse box and then deleted the security footage. Next, I crossed to the mansion and upgraded by means of high-speed coconuts to be a red shirt, but without the dying part, obviously. After collecting some explosives as well as a propane flask to maximize the fireworks display, I casually strolled to the entrance and then trained a technician to look out for low-flying propane. Now I just entered the control room of the server farm and poisoned the AC with sleeping gas. After subduing the 2 remaining control room staff, I went on a cleanup spree, hiding like 24 unconscious guys. This took me like forever, but it paid off and I could peacefully sabotage the servers to attract my 3 main targets to one place. In preparation, I already poisoned the AC with a medic poison and peacefully awaited my future toilet explosion victims. They arrived soon and I already managed to isolate and knock out 2 of their bodyguards in a remarkable stealthy manner. Now all I had to do was to turn on the AC, and since I was wearing a gas mask, I could follow them in a room while they were making their way to the toilet. Unfortunately, they chose not to walk the same way, so I just knocked them out one by one, including the guard. Now all I had to do was some setup work, and then finally I went for the triple whammy. There were some highly disturbing graphic images after the explosion that will haunt me in my dreams, but well, all in all I could be proud of my work. So I left Haven happy with myself, and mostly happy about my accomplishments, on a seaplane headed for Season 3. I now take my time to emotionally recover from editing this video.
I'm the one who deserves a break.
And then we will go on to Season 3. In the meantime, please check out my other playthroughs and videos during your next bathroom break. I hope you had fun, and if you feel like it, click the subscribe button and leave a like. After washing your hands, please.
I don't think I asked too much of them.
I wish you a very good time. May your bathroom breaks be short and non-explosive. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!